Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Sunday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today we're going to be taking a look at a beer from a local brewery of mine. I would say they're pretty damn popular within the state of Illinois. They have multiple locations throughout the Chicagoland area, and I would consider them one of my favorite breweries in the state. That is Noon Whistle Brewing Company. I think they have 2 or 3 locations now, but they're making some really cool beers over there. Of course, they make a lot of IPAs, a lot of sours, and a lot of Imperial Stouts. And today we got one of their Imperial Stouts is from one of their barrel-aged Imperial Stouts, specifically called the Twilight Cure. It's a barrel-aged Imperial Stout coming in at a 13% ABV, and that's pretty much all the info I have on it. Doesn't really tell you what barrels they were aged in or anything like that. Just this barrel-aged Imperial Stout coming from these guys. 13%. That's definitely a doozy when it comes to some booziness that's going to happen. Of course, I love my high ABV stouts, and I'm hoping this is going to kind of live up to the reputation. I've had some pretty damn good high ABV beers from Noon Whistle themselves, plus a lot of their barrel-aged beers have always been pretty damn fantastic as well. So I'm super stoked to give this guy a try. So what I'm expecting from this one, of course, barrel aging beers adds some really, really nice complex flavors to beers when they decide to do it. I'm always a really, really big fan of trying to barrel age different stuff, new stuff to see how it's going to taste. But seeing how this is going to be a barrel aged stout, of course, you expect some roasty flavors. I don't know if it's going to get to where you're going to add a little sweetness to it from the barrel aging as well, because yeah, hopefully not Tabasco barrels face me, that's for damn sure. But there's some beers I wouldn't mind trying a Tabasco barrel aged one. I don't know, there's always kind of experimentation when it comes to what kind of barrels somebody puts one in. So if it was maybe like a mole stout, a Tabasco barrel aged kind of situation would not be a bad idea. If it was like an Imperial stout made with like chili peppers or anything like that, who knows? Tabasco barrel aging it might add some nice tartness, maybe some nice spice notes in it. I don't know, but it really doesn't tell me anything when it comes to what kind of barrels this one was aged in. Let me see if I can check on the website really quick and see. Let's look over here. Let's look on Noon Whistle's website and see if, let's see, seasonal beers. Actually, let's go to barrel aged beers. So we got the Twilight Cure. So they have a couple different variants of their Twilight Cure. They're all 13%. They have their regular 13% Twilight Cure. They have the barrel-aged variant, and then they have a barrel-aged variant with vanilla. So that one's most likely going to be sweeter. But the Twilight Cure, just the regular one, is just that it doesn't really tell you anything on their website at all either. So that's definitely interesting. It looks like, I want to see if this is available right now. Locations, let's see. So their everything is brewed in Naperville, Illinois, and when it comes to the brew pub, they have a location in Lombard as well. But let's see, do they have this available right now? Let's see, Saturday tours, beers to go. Okay, it doesn't really say anything on that info at all either, but that's fine. So it looks like this is part of their barrel-aged kind of beer season anyways. They're going to start releasing barrel-aged beers when it comes to this time of year. A lot of breweries are going to start releasing barrel-aged beers around this time of year as well, just because we're starting to get in the fall and winter months, and a lot of the barrel aging processes that go on are going to start being ready to kind of can or keg or whatever they want to do as well. So I'm pretty excited to give this guy a try. Of course, there's going to be some oakiness, some booziness that comes along with this guy. I'm expecting hopefully a little bit of sweetness. I don't know if there's going to be some bitter flavors. Maybe if it's going to be somewhere we're getting coffee flavors, maybe dark chocolate. I don't know. But I'm super stoked to give this one its fair shake. So let's crack this thing open and see what we get on the nose with this guy. Let's see. Definitely getting a little bit of a booziness. Pretty much what I'm getting on the nose right now is just mostly booziness. My nose might be a little bit stuffed. Who knows? Definitely getting a little bit slight sweetness. Not like crazy, a lot of sweetness on the nose, but there's definitely seems like there's going to be a slight sweetness to it. So I'm going to be drinking this out of my Riverlands Tulip glass this afternoon. So let's pour this thing. I'm expecting it to be black as my soul. A lot of the times a barrel-aged beer isn't really as heavily carbonated as some stouts would be or any kind of beer would be. So let's pour this thing and see what it's all about. Definitely not a lot of carbonation going on. A little bit of head, but nothing really crazy. Definitely the little bit about a head that you can probably get. But look at that. That just looks like as black as my soul and absolutely delicious. So yeah, it smells pretty damn good. So let's give this guy a try and see what it's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Sunday. Ooh. Ooh. That is boozy AF. So they definitely let the barrel aging process kind of take like front and center when it comes to flavor, because you're getting like that strong booziness coming through. As a trying to think if it's more of a whiskey kind of flavor I'm getting, or a bourbon. I would say it's to me it's close to a bourbon barrel kind of situation, but we're at strong bourbon flavors, creamy up front, leaving like that kind of dry mouthfeel at the end. But it's just a slap you in the face kind of boozy Imperial Stout, and it's pretty damn delicious. I'm definitely enjoying this one. Slight roasty kind of flavors that linger at the end. A little bit of dark chocolate, a little bit of coffee. Of course, it's not really too bitter. There's definitely a bitterness to it, but it's not really predominant, I would say. But there's definitely that kind of dry mouthfeel you get at the end from maybe some of the malts they use, some of the roasted malts, maybe add a little bit of crystal malt in there in the boil. Who knows? But I think they did a pretty damn nice job with this one. This is this is not for the faint of heart, that's for damn sure. If you don't like boozy, you're definitely not going to enjoy this one. This is a strong one. Whew. I can already feel my sinuses starting to clear up a little bit for after a couple sips. This is, if you like boozy in your Imperial Stouts, this is definitely one to kind of keep an eye out for. That's for damn sure. So, when it comes to looking for finding a similar beer to this one, there's actually some really more well-known Imperial Stouts that are coming up as the similar beers list. Of course, we got a beer from the Answer. The Answer is definitely a nice brewery. I've had one beer to where they collaborated with them. But we actually have one that I've actually had before from the brewery, which is in California, and it's their Black Tuesday Imperial Stout. And the Black Tuesday Imperial Stout from the brewery is a fantastic barrel-aged stout. They do so many different experimentation variants when it comes to what barrels they leave them in. So there's so many different versions of the Black Tuesday Stout that the brewery does, where high ABV, very boozy, but just overall very delicious. I think the one I had recently was the Chardonnay barrel-aged one, and it was pretty awesome. So, but I don't know about any of these other ones showing on here. So we got one from Burns Family Artisan Ale, which is called the Swan Snarl Solar Eclipse, which it's a higher ABV. This is more of a Russian Imperial Stout. Definitely, that's going to have more of some drier flavors, more bitterness. We got one here from Marteau Brewing Company called the Brutal V3, their coconut variant, which is a 14% barrel-aged stout, batch 3 of their barrel-aged stout, brutal aged in rum barrels for over a year with toasted coconut. So that's going to be more of a coconutty kind of situation. I don't know if I'd really put that similar to this. We got one here from Willow Park Brewing Company called the Deadly Distillates. That's pretty cool. Let's see, it's an oatmeal stout aged on Dad's Hat rye whiskey barrels served on nitro. Ooh, a nitro barrel-aged stout, that'd be pretty damn awesome. But I don't know if I consider any of these on here to be similar. I guess you can put one from the Black Tuesdays from the brewery to kind of have that boozy kind of kick. So maybe beers from the brewery will probably have some similar flavors to it. Of course, the Black Tuesday Imperial Stout line that they do when it comes to what barrels they age their stuff in, they're all going to be different. But I think a lot of the times, if you're looking for something that's boozy and hit you in the face and just very complex, starting with some of the Black Tuesdays from the brewery is going to be a good start to try to find something similar to this. But let's look at my beer history and see if we can find another brewery that's kind of doing something like this as well. So we're going to look under the category of Stout Imperial Double. So let's look here. So we're looking under Stout Imperial Double, which right here. So let's see if we can find some barrel-aged version of this. Of course, you can find some beers like this probably over at Tups. I just reviewed the barrel-aged full-grown Jack, which was delicious. Let's see. Urban South probably makes some stuff like this, even though theirs are probably going to be a little bit more sweeter. Weathered Souls probably makes some pretty solid beers that are similar to this. Of course, we got the brewery one, which was so mine was the red wine barrel-aged variant. Okay, let's see what else here. Prairie Artisan Ales might have some good ones that are similar to this. Wolf's Ridge, McKellar, Braxton Brewing Company, Hardywood, White Elm, Mob Craft Beer, Anchorage, of course, McKellar. Let's see, you got the New Anthem Beer Project. Of course, I've had the Dodging Traffic from New Missile as well. Hubbard's Cave, another one here in Illinois. They'll probably make some pretty similar Imperial Stouts like this because they do barrel-aged stuff as well. We got Alisong. I think it's Alisong Brewing and Blending, so they do a lot of barrel-aged stuff. River North. What else we got here? Perennial, Drake's Brewing Company, Epic Brewing Company in Colorado. What else? Half Acre, another one here in Illinois. Goose Island with their Bourbon County stuff. You could probably get similar flavors of that. Bourbon barrel-aged beers have kind of grown in popularity over the years. I remember back in the day when the only stuff that you would find when it comes to barrel-aged beers in my area specifically would be going over to a liquor store or bottle shop on Black Friday and picking up the Bourbon Counties from Goose Island. Those were kind of groundbreaking Imperial Stouts, the ones that you can buy and age them even 4 or 5 more years after you purchase it and just make those flavors a little bit more complex and everything like that. But there's been such a growth when it comes to barrel aging in beers, which I think is awesome because it adds so much more complexity to a beer that you want to add a little bit more complexity to. So, plus brings out great flavors of the bourbon or any kind of barrel you aged in. Of course, you get the smokiness, you get that almost charred kind of, like, because they scorch the inside of the barrel, so you're going to get a little bit of that smokiness in there as well. So it just adds so many different flavors to a beer that you can have once when it's not barrel aged and have a completely different experience after it's barrel aged. I absolutely love barrel aged beers. They're probably one of my favorite styles of beer when it comes to either just a barrel aged stout is probably up there when it comes to like my West Coast New England hazy IPA kind of being my favorite, or maybe in like a nice fruited sour, heavy fruited sour like that. But yeah, flavors in this one are nice. Definitely has a little bit of bitterness. Of course, like I stated before, the booziness is just slap you in the face boozy, but in a very good way. It's not overpowering. Well, I wouldn't say it's overpowering. I guess it depends on your palate and how well you're able to tolerate booziness. But to me, I think the flavors on this one are pretty damn stellar. So looking back here at Untappd, it was a little bit weird to try to find this specific beer on Untappd itself, just because they had one which was called the Twilight Cure Bourbon, the barrel aged version, but that had only 8 check-ins and didn't even give it enough to make an average rating. But I found the regular Twilight Cure, which says it's a barrel aged Imperial Stout, which is making me think that this is the one I'm looking at. My dad checked it in over on the other one. I think he gave it a 4 out of 5 or a 4.25 out of 5. But we're going to look at the regular Twilight Cure because I'm thinking this is the correct Untappd page for it. But looking at my friends list, it doesn't look like anybody on my friends list checked this one in. But I know my dad checked it in on the other one because he's the one that went over the Noon Whistle and bought these. But let's see what, before we look at the global ratings, like I said before, description on this one is very simple. It's barrel-aged Imperial Stout. Nothing really to kind of explain there. Also, like I stated, 13%. I can't stress this enough. 13% is definitely going to be boozy. It's not going to be for the faint of heart. It's going to be something that you're going to have to be ready for. And drinking one can of this, even though it's a 12-ounce can, you're definitely going to be feeling it. Because most likely if you purchase this stuff at Noon Whistle themselves, if they had it on tap, they're most likely only going to give you a 10-ounce pour of it. So, and with over 134 ratings, so definitely a smaller release on this guy. This one has an average rating of 3.95 out of 5, which isn't bad. I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher. A lot of the barrel-aged stuff that I've tried, or Imperial Stouts that I've tried from Noon Whistle, have definitely had that higher, above a 4 average. So I'm really curious on why people only gave this that almost an average of a 3.95. So let's look here and see what other people are saying about this guy. So this person gave it a 3.75 out of 5. Looks like he drank it out of a taster. This person only gave it a 1.5, purchased at Whole Foods. So I don't know if, okay, so they definitely have selection over at Whole Foods. That's pretty cool. But this guy didn't really like it. He says, no bueno, tastes like chemical, which is very interesting. So maybe when he's not a fan of barrel-aged beers, most likely. So that kind of smacked you in the face, kind of bourbon kind of note. It's not, to me, it's not chemically, but it's definitely more of a booziness, like an alcohol taste specifically. So maybe he wasn't ready for that alcohol kind of flavor to it. But what else we got here? We got another 4 out of 5. We got a 4 out of 5 here purchased at the Noon Whistle in Lombard. So the Lombard location. What else we got? We got 3.75. Another 3.75 here purchased at Whole Foods in Wheaton. So 2 Wheaton locations for the Whole Foods. This guy checked it in, didn't give it a rating, but he said hiccup, strong shit, Gouda. So he must have liked it, but he just didn't give it a rating. What else we got here? We got a 3.75 here as well. Says lots of flavor. Noon Whistle Brewing never disappoints. So I wonder if these two guys tasted it together, because it looks like he was tagged on the previous post. But let's do 3 more. We got a 4 out of 5 here, purchased from Noon Whistle out of Lombard. Didn't give a rating on that. We got a 4.25 out of 5, purchased at the Noon Whistle in Naperville. And the last one we're going to look at here is a 4 out of 5, purchased at the Noon Whistle Naperville location. So yeah, overall, some 3.75, some pretty low ratings from people most likely not fans of barrel-aged beers. Yeah, hashtag burp life, 100%. But overall, I would say these ratings are pretty damn good. I still consider a 3.75 rating out of 5 a pretty good rating still. Just because it's a solid beer. It's not going to be like, some people may not think it's like a game changer, outstanding beer. But a 3.75 in my head is still a pretty good rating. So, with all that being said, pretty good ratings overall. So let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings and all that kind of stuff over here on our end with this guy. Take one more swig because it's delicious. Let's see if I can pour the rest of the can in here. Yep. And the first thing we like to look at is can art. Or if it's bottle art and so forth. Noon Whistle usually has a lot of... Their can art's very, very simple. They don't go too crazy when it comes to detail. You usually see the same kind of stuff you normally would see on any kind of Noon Whistle Brewing can. Of course, you got the logo right up front. You got the abbreviated Noon Whistle Brewing Co. on the side. And yeah, it's simple. It's clean. It's classy. In my opinion, it'll catch my attention just because of the Noon Whistle name on there. I know most likely if I saw this at a liquor store or bottle shop, I'd stop and look at it because it's a Noon Whistle beer. So it's one of those kind of, you need to know the kind of beers that they make kind of situation. But overall, I like the colors as well. The black and gold, of course, was my high school colors as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a hit home because I just recently had my 10-year high school reunion. And yeah, they're having that kind of cross from holographic to like Starry Night kind of situation, I think, with the holographic gold to that Starry Night kind of nighttime stars with the gold stars and the Noon Whistle and the moon right there. I think it's nice. It's clean. It's classy. It's definitely something that would catch my attention at a liquor store or bottle shop. So for ratings on this one, I'd probably give this one a solid... I'd give it a 4. Yeah, 4 out of 5 for can art for me. This is definitely... enjoyable. Of course, you guys know by now a lot of the heavy detailed stuff always catches my attention just a little bit more, but I think this is just enough to where it's clean, it's classy, it reminds you of anything you would expect to see off a Noon Whistle can. So overall, 4 out of 5 I think is a pretty damn good rating for can art on this one. So let's see, if I got this beer in a flight over at Noon Whistle Brewing Company, whether it been the Wheaton or Lombard location. Actually, was it? No, Naperville or Lombard. What the hell am I saying Wheaton for? Would I get another one if I got this in a flight? Yeah, I'd definitely get another one of these. I'd probably get... I think when they sell these ones, I don't recall if they only sell them in 2-packs or not. I think when it comes to their higher ABV stuff, they only sell like their barrel-aged stouts in 2-packs, so you can only buy 2 at a time, or you'll have to buy multiple 2-packs if you want to store them. This would definitely be one enough to where I would love to see how it kind of changes over time. So I'd probably get another 2-pack of this to possibly bring home and cellar to see what happens over maybe a year or 2 after it's been sitting out in a kind of like a colder place and cold, dark place to let it age a little bit more. But yeah, like I stated in the beginning, the flavors in this one are delicious. If you don't like boozy beers, if you don't like heavily like alcoholic bourbon kind of flavors in your beer, this most likely won't be the one for you. But I tend to like this kind of stuff, so if you're a fan of boozy beers or having that bourbon, like the barrel-aged kind of flavor come forward a lot, this is definitely going to be a beer that I think you're going to really enjoy. So, with that being said, what's my final rating on this guy going to be? I think I'm going to give it a very, very solid... I'm leaning more towards an 8.75 out of 10. So I think, yeah, 8.75 out of 10 is where I'm going to leave this one. Very, very delicious. If you have the opportunity to come to the northwest suburbs of Illinois and stop at a liquor store, bottle shop, and see Noon Whistle there, or have the opportunity to stop at the brewery and pick some of this stuff up, I would highly recommend doing so. I would also just highly recommend getting over to Noon Whistle if you're ever in the area, just to experience the brewery. They have food trucks show up there all the time when it comes down the weekends. They have a bunch of different beer options. Their tap rooms are massive buildings, and just overall a very, very nice vibe going there, and it's just a really cool experience to be able to go there, try their beers, see what's going on. It's definitely a really, really nice atmosphere over there. So I would highly recommend, either if you can find a beer from Noon Whistle, or just stop over there and have a couple beers yourselves. Plus, who knows, Noon Whistle comes up every once in a while in the giveaways I do over in the Patreon, so you may be able to experience them if you join over the Patreon as well. But other than that, I think that is pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It'll help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know when I ever go live in another review. I don't have a review planned for tomorrow because we'll be going in, we're doing some kegging, plus we're getting another beer kind of ready to go, because with the beer we just made, we're kind of making two different beers from it. We're doing our Skittle release with our Skittle sours, and then we're going to be doing a peanut butter and jelly kind of sour as well. So we're going to get that all ready to go, get the peanut butter peanut butter and jelly flavors coming through pretty nice on it, and then of course get the flavoring in there, keg it with the flavoring, so it'll be all ready to go, so we can release that after our Halloween release. But I think I might have maybe a review or two coming in between now and before I leave for out of town, before I go to Vegas on Thursday. So we'll just have to keep an eye on my Instagram and see if there's going to be another review coming in. So if you want to follow me on all my social media platforms, of course, you got my Instagram where you'll see what I'm going to be reviewing the day of. And, of course, you'll see behind-the-scenes stuff of what we're doing over at the brewery over at Fibs. So if you want to shoot me a follow to get the chance to see all that kind of stuff, shoot me a follow over there. Of course, you can also shoot me a friend request on Untappd as well. I love Untappd. It's a fantastic platform. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers because that's pretty much what it is. You can check in beers, get badges, do all kinds of stuff on there. It's a really, really fantastic platform that I always recommend if you're a fan of craft beer to get yourself over to Untappd. But last but not least, of course, I always talk about the best way to help support me and help me do what I do is to get yourself over to the Patreon. You guys hear me talk about my Patreon every single review. I try to promote it as much as I can. I do monthly 4-pack giveaways of Illinois exclusive craft beer. So if you're out of the state and want to try some stuff from Illinois, that's going to be the best way to do so. I do monthly giveaways of so many different styles of Illinois beers, and plus it'll help me do what I do. It'll help me get more beers out to you guys for reviews, and plus it would help me kind of just help give back to you guys as well. Plus I'm planning on doing some other stuff when it comes to giveaways with other beer content creators out there through Instagram and YouTube, and then possibly if I ever work with a brewery to do a giveaway in the future, it's going to be over on the Patreon as well. So if you want to take advantage of all that kind of stuff that's going to happen over there, link to the Patreon is down in the description below. Plus, once we get a little bit more of a following over there and want a little bit more movement and people over there, I'm going to start working on a Discord. Plus, then I can have the opportunity to work on merch, glassware, coasters, koozies, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to help me out and help me keep on doing these reviews the best way that I can, Patreon is going to be the best way to do so. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Thank you everybody who's going to be watching the replay as well. You guys are fantastic. And I'm going to end this like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.